What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Dope Life Podcast, dopest podcast out there. And I'm, of course, your host, Coach AJ, Dope Life Coach, the dopest life coach out there. And if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that you never miss another episode. And if you could be also lovely and dope and leave us a rating and review, we will greatly appreciate it so our podcast can get to dope individuals just like yourself. And today we're going to be talking about habits for success, but I'm going to really break it down to the most. I may have to get a little bit rough with you today because you know what? You're not showing up the way you should be showing up. You knew you should have showed up more in 2025. And now you're in 2026 and you're like, I'm ready to show up even more. You could say the words, but I'm going to give you the tips of how you could actually take the intentional steps moving forward, because we need you to start speaking up. We need you to start saying the things that you want to put forth. We need you to start telling people if you feel uncomfortable. We need you to start being in the spaces that actually help you grow and not deplete you. We've done it. We've done that. You've paid that. You paid the taxes time and over of doing those things. We ain't doing it no more. All right? We ain't doing no more. And before you say, Coach, give me a minute. No, I've given you several minutes. I'm just joking. But no, for real though, it's time that you start putting some pressure on your life. And I don't mean like pressure that stresses you out. I mean actually start putting some respect on your name. You understand me? So let's get into it. Let me tell you something. You are not lazy. You're not lazy. Many of us are struggling because we're exhausted, we're tired, we're overwhelmed, we're overstimulated. We're overstretched, we're distracted. We are living in survival mode versus in our own thrival mode, because Jesus have mercy. And you're not broken. You could possibly be burnt out. And the reason why you find like your habits are just constantly falling apart could be just your nervous system is not regulated. So before we build anything, before you even set that lovely goal, we got to get into with the nitty gritty of our reality. How do you expect to build new goals off of lack of sleep, lack of rest, overstimulation, fear of the future, fatigue, still living in your past? Once you kind of figure all of that out, you start removing the guilt away and you can actually start putting in the work that you want to put in. You can start being more consistent and disciplined. So today we're going to talk about rebuilding your capacity first and then setting in the habits afterwards. Here's the part that a lot of people don't really teach you, and they don't really discuss this. You don't have to rise to the level of your goals, but you can rise to the level of your habits. And right now, a lot of people have their habits rooted in stress, competition, comparison, coping, numbing, overthinking, avoidance. You can't keep building your goals on the back of survival habits. That numbing will not get you there. That avoidance will not get you there. That coping mechanism will not get you there. That comparison will not get you there. So the whole point of Habit Reset is replacing the reactive habits with intentional ones. Not incorporating 20 more habits, not incorporating a new routine, not incorporating a noon you Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Just a reset and just a shift. So I'm going to break it down in 4 parts for you. Now you may want to write this one down, or if not, save this and come back and watch it later. Now, let's be real. There's probably a lot of habits you're doing right now that is holding you back, but you're using them because they feel comfortable. They feel familiar. So these are the habits that you need to remove. Think about one habit right now that is ruining your momentum when it comes towards you working on your goals. Is it scrolling in the morning, scrolling late at night, skipping your meals, overthinking versus actually just starting, staying up too late, saying yes when you really want to say no because you just want to rest, procrastination, emotional spending. These are just a couple examples that you can think of. Now, once you have that idea of your list, pick one, not 10, just pick one. Pick one habit that you're ready to remove or reduce. Remember, this is not just about cutting all of it out. We got to work on building it so that eventually it doesn't even become something that you come back to. Habits die easier when you work at it one at a time and work on it bit by bit. Step 2, replace. This is where you create a simple and doable alternative. So for example, if you find yourself scrolling the first thing in the morning, I had an issue with this. Start setting an alarm and you can name it, get off your phone, no more scrolling. That's something that I do. Or you could set a non-negotiable, no phone for the first 15 minutes as you wake up. Replace it with water. Have a few sips of water. Replace that moment to maybe deep breathe or meditate. If your habit is overthinking, replace it with setting a 5-minute timer and take the first action. If your habit is late nights, I used to have this issue. Start creating a PM routine. Maybe your PM routine clicks in at 10 p.m. What does it consist of? Maybe it's that book that you've been wanting to read or listen to. Maybe this is the moment that you get to journal out your thoughts. Maybe this is a moment where you actually just get to sit down and just be. It's all about having the tiny impacts or the bigger shifts. Allow yourself to build it over time. Number three, reinforce. Start by asking yourself, how can I make this easier? How can I make it obvious? And how can I make it automatic? So, for example, when I started working out every morning, I would lay my gym clothes out on my bench. So, as soon as I got up, it was right there in front of me. Let's say you want to journal more. Start placing your journal on your pillow. Put your vitamins close to where you would make your coffee. Have a to do list next to your laptop so that you're ready to work. Do that the night before. Start putting limits on some of the apps that you have, especially social media apps. Turn off your notifications at night or whenever you need to have that time for yourself. And it's okay to also use your alarms on your phone to remind you to do habits, not just to wake you up in the morning. Make that habit so easy for yourself that you can't avoid it. And lastly, number four, review. Now, this one is just as important as the rest of them, but this one is the most important one because this is the moment where you get a chance to adjust and reset if you need to. A lot of successful people do this exact step every week because it lets them figure out what's working and what's not working. And just think about it this way. What's worked for you in your 20s probably won't work for you in the position you are right now at your age. So it's always important to reset and reevaluate and review where you are and what you need. So once a week, ask yourself, what habit did I keep? What habit did I struggle with? Why did I struggle with this habit? What do I need to adjust? And what do I want next week's one habit to be? This removes the guilt and puts an awareness at the forefront. And this is actually how habits can stick over time. Another thing you could do that I saw online was you could break down habits into 12 months of the year. So for example, January is consistency, February is self-care, March is discipline, April is focus, May is wellness, June is financial habits, July is energy shifts, August is productivity, September is boundaries, October is confidence, November is reflection, and December is reset. 12 habits, 12 months, build slowly and intentionally and sustainably. This is where it's a breakdown of all breakdowns. There's no burnout that's in between that. It allows you to just build over time. I think that's the part that sometimes we forget. It's just like the smaller steps have the biggest impact, y'all. And even when you're doing these habits, it's always important that you feel good. Habits are not just for you to feel like you have to do them. Habits are meant for you to feel good. That's the whole point of them. And they may feel uncomfortable in the beginning because you've been using other habits as a coping mechanism. But even in the midst of the discomfort, that means you're growing. That means you're changing. That means you're in alignment. And that means expansion. So don't think that you're struggling and holding so much on yourself about that. Part of transformation is going through the uncomfortable periods. The periods where you want to turn back and go back to your coping mechanisms. But in order to move forward, you have to unlearn those coping mechanisms to allow yourself to have healthy habits. Because remember, the habits that you have will help you build character, it'll help you build consistency, confidence, and ultimately like self-love for yourself. So it's not just about having multiple routines and multiple habits. It's about building and resetting them one at a time. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And I hope to see you next week at another Dope Life Podcast episode. And if you're new here, by all means, click that little subscribe button for me. Clicky click. I appreciate you. And I hope to see you next week. Y'all know what to do. Walk with peace. Walk with love.